Disturbing and illegal. That's how some local fair housing advocates describe a trend they've seen recently when it comes to families seeking housing during this pandemic. President and CEO of Housing Opportunities Made Equal, Heather Crislip, says they've seen a significant uptick in what they're calling brazen discrimination against households with children.
In a typical year, we might take intakes where there are more restrictive rules around kids in an apartment complex, then that would be a violation of the Fair Housing Act. Most often, recently, we've been getting intakes, with landlords just clearly saying that they will not accept children. And that is a really blatant a violation of the Fair Housing Act. I speculate that it does have to do with kids being home more and landlords wanting to limit the number of people who are actively in a household at any given time. But they need to know that that's still illegal housing.
She says they've also investigated discrimination complaints from tenants with disabilities who are having difficulty renting.
Not being willing to accept disability income as a method of paying for rent. And that is also a clear violation of the Fair Housing Act.
One alleged discrimination case in particular, she says, was uncovered through testing that Home conducted after a tip came in from a family who wanted to rent a unit from a Richmond landlord. That case led Home to file this federal housing discrimination lawsuit, claiming the landlord made discriminatory statements against people with disabilities and families with children.
There were discriminatory statements made along the lines of, I'd rather have a Great Dane than a 3-year-old as a tenant. Explicit, we've had intakes recently with explicitly, saying that they would not rent to children or households with children of a certain age. And so we were interested in bringing this case forward and bringing attention to it just because, we see a lot of this going on in the marketplace.
Crislip says they hope this will send a clear message to all landlords about the importance of adhering to the Fair Housing Act.
My purpose now is to try to get as much attention that this is definitely a trend going on in the region. It's not one we had really anticipated. And make sure that families with children have this kind of discrimination removed as a barrier as they look to seek, housing at a moment when housing is so important.
In this federal lawsuit, Home is also seeking damages in the amount of the investigation. We should mention that CBS 6 News has reached out a few different times to the landlord at the center of the lawsuit. We have yet to hear back, but we will update the story once we do.